But the print pubs, I remember when like Federal Computer Week would be in excess of 100 pages for weeks in a row. But when Web 2.0 hit, the ability for other organizations to start sharing information, self-serving or industry serving, became rampant. And we have a very radically different mediascape now. We're going to talk primarily about what we could consider print, but it's virtual. So we're not going to be talking podcasts, or I'm not going to be. My brilliant friend Emilie Vicchio is going to take over in just a moment. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of it is, as you know or suspect, pay for play. So you have to judge the validity of these platforms for yourself, but there's going to be more, and there's always somebody pushing in. But there's a couple, and I will say so a little later on, that I like a lot, and some that I don't care for all that much, and I may or may not say that out loud too. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend who's up early in San Diego, Emilie Vicchio.
Hi. Yes. Thank you, Mark. So I'm gonna go. I've been doing like PR last about 2 years. It's increased in terms of my role. So I'm kind of new to the area, but obviously not FedCon. I've been in the space for quite some time. Let me see that way. So leveraging media, there's different reasons for it. I kind of broke it into 4 buckets. We have our corporate news. This is our press releases. So this is stuff about your executive team, your M&A activity, contract wins, awards, product
Emilie,
services,
the screen hasn't changed.
launches.
Just do it manually.
Okay. Do this. Is this better?
Not yet.
No.
Oh.
The screen that has the whole presentation on it. So I didn't know if you hit slideshow or not, but
Oh, I did. This is the whole one. Oh, it's the wrong.
yeah, you're on the wrong screen.
I was in the wrong browser.
Bingo.
All right, it's early. Yeah, corporate news, that's something to share. Usually leverage the media for to kind of get what you want to say out there. Thought leadership, this Mark brought up this point on SME pitching, topic pitching, that type of activity you can use the media for. Obviously, your advertising, there's been a blend of, and I think it always existed, but it's very heavy now. I think this is how a lot of media is making their money. Different types of advertising, either, the native ones with your banner ads. They sometimes offer interviews. We've seen videos, kind of like a newscasting video, newsletter, sponsorship. They do homepage takeovers. There's a bunch of stuff if you want to pay. It's media, but it's obviously a little bit different. And then they have the ones that actually have a content arm, where they'll actually create content for you from webinars and panels. Again, interviews, white papers, digital campaigns, just a bunch of kind of activity that they'll do for you. As in your media partnership. Obviously you have to pay for it. It is not free. The first one we'll talk about is GovExec. This is one of the big ones. There's 2 large conglomerates. There might be more, and this is only in the FedCon space that we're discussing here. And this is their whole umbrella. There was a recent merge, I think, last year, where they purchased a bunch, and then they also purchased some from 360. I'll have a few of those. I think it's 360 Media. I can't remember with all the numbers. But these are some of the larger ones, and these you have to get picked up. As far as I know, obviously the more money you spend with them, they might be a little bit more inclined to maybe publish an article or news or something like that regarding you. But you really kind of have to have something to say, or something that's unique, that's going on at your organization that people would want to care about. And that's usually your bigger contract wins, possibly some executive moves, depending, if that might be one. But these are in the GovExec umbrella of activity. The next ones is our.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I believe they're launching a new one focused on military space.
Is that the military Periscope one?
I didn't think that was the name, but let me check. Sorry.
Maybe they're changing it. And then Executive Mosaic, this is the, you pay a fee. I can't remember what it was. I'll have to go to my notes. I do obviously have the cost. I think this one is part of the, a club, the 4x4, the 24x4 or something. It's really for executives and senior leadership to get them out there. And in terms of like a PR media kind of play, if you have senior leadership in DC area, the greater region, it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea to get them involved because it gets them interviewing. It depends on what stage of their executive career that they're in. But Executive Mosaic, so you'll pay, I want to say it's $9,000 a year. You can either do an executive and send them to they'll get like once, I don't know how many events it is. I guess 4x24 might be 24, 2 a month that they could possibly attend. There's larger panels that they have. They have this whole program for them on the executive, under the Executive Mosaic umbrella. But this one's great for even if you just pay, I think $6,000 to $7,000 to $8,000 a year, you get released about 4 times, 5 or 7 times. I think you have to kind of plan it out if you go on that per schedule. And you can choose what distribution you want. I think GovCon Wire might go out at like 6 a.m. my time. So 9 a.m. East Coast, Executive Biz. So they all have distribution cycles. But this is definitely, we call it, I guess, a paid relations rather than a public relations. So if you want to assume a bigger company or people care about your content more because it's hard to get picked up, you go with the paid relations type activity, partnerships. And then I don't know how to define these. I call them either standalone or indie. Some are independent. I guess they're all kind of independent, but some haven't media arm like GovCIO. They have the media side to their organization. Married Talk is great with product. So depending on what you're selling and what your company is, it will dictate which media partners you want to kind of add to your arsenal. Washington Exec, JD's company, that's paid relations too. I leverage that one at my company to get some of our content out there. Inside Defense Post, I know that's definitely an indie one. There's Gov Events where they list out events. So maybe you want to get your events added to a calendar, a larger one. Scoop News Group, that one's very expensive. That's really product-based too. That's Goldie's. Government Tech, I think that's State. Federal News Network, I think that's a big one that's out there. And then Breaking Defense, I think they're newer. They're a little bit more niche in speaking with them regarding, it's not like the big kind of spray and play across all their platforms. They're a little bit more specific. They'll have like breaking air, breaking cyber, and that type of stuff. I was intrigued by them. I have never used them, but when we spoke. And then also it's good to take advantage of your regional media. The WTOP, yes, it's godly expensive. And I think more people are listening to radio now. But they're definitely media, and I think they have a print arm too, that not print, digital
They have a newsletter.
There it is. Washington Business Journal, that's not specifically focused on, in the FedCon space, but it's still a media player in the space. So always consider your regional media. So if you have an office in San Diego, San Diego Business Journal, whatever it may be, it's important to also look at your local ones, as well.
Quick question. Quick
Yeah.
question. Has anyone heard how successful Potomac TechWire has been trying to convert to paid subscriber?
Not me.
If no, okay. Yeah, I've been free forever, and I think what he's doing now is you only get it every other day, and you're constantly encouraged to upgrade to a paid subscription. Just wondering if anyone had heard how that's going for him.
And that's just for news?
Yes, for news.
Then we have our councils and industry, our traditional institutions. NVTC has some great stuff. I think, I don't know how broad it is, but I couple obviously my PR activity with my social activity. So the more news we can kind of share, or the more partnerships we have, it gives me content on my social side. PSC, it's expensive. I think it's $22,000, $28,000 a year. And then you have to spend 50% on events. You have to attend events. for that one. So that's a bigger investment depending on the size of your org. Obviously, FCA, we have the Signal magazine at FCA. Anyone can kind of pitch to that. That's your thought leadership arm that you use. NDIA, I don't remember which ones they have, in AUSA. But you really want to take advantage of partnerships. So if you're spending money to be on a PSC or MVTC or any of these orgs as a corporate member, always ping and keep in touch with your contacts and say, hey, if you have a good idea, possibly pitch it to them. But then also there might be stuff that you're leaving on the table and what's included in your memberships that you have. So always kind of scrub those to make sure you're getting the best. Say, hey, do you have a newsletter? Or hey, what about this newsletter? Sure, send it to me. You know, it goes out January, April and November. So send me this type of content to get published in that. So industry councils are great as well. Or PR landscape. And then this is, I don't know if they're lead, they're still just, it's just like a dynamic industry and what people offer. In the end, it's kind of all the same. And I think we're pitching to the same audience. But newsletter focus, these are the emerging ones. We've talked about them briefly before. Orange Slices AI, which I think they just put out a statement saying they're for the people or something. I can't remember what it was. If anyone wants to chime in on what their structure, it's a little bit different than the other ones. And then Gov Brew, I've been following them for about 5 years, but they're turning into like a tribe, a Gov tribe type thing where they're starting to pitch you opportunities as well in your news feed. So I think they're doing a play for that. So there's a payment subscription there. I'm assuming it's cheaper than like a Gov Win type one. Did anyone read what Orange Slices AI was up to? Made some
No,
statement. I'll have to look at that. I hate Orange Slices. I can't read it on my phone. I usually, read in the morning to see what's going on, and wish they would do a better job of that. But Gov Brew, I really enjoy them. And then you have your niche publications. These are all Gov exec ones, I think, except for military aerospace. But so if you're trying to do a pitch you're running, if you either a strategic kind of tactical campaign or opportunity campaign that you're running, or even an agency campaign strategy that you're putting together, take a look at some of the smaller niche ones that you can kind of get into in your thought leadership side. Obviously, your audience is much more specific in who you're pursuing. But these are some other ones, and one more slide. And really who you use and who you leverage, it really, obviously money is a big factor too, but it's your company size. If you're small and you don't have like a lot of news going out, you want to focus on thought leadership. Maybe the pay to play ones aren't the way to go, or pay on one-offs. What industry you're in, obviously, products or services. If you're doing products, there's different, the ecosystem split into product or services. So that's going to dictate kind of who you partner with, who you move forward with, your obviously capabilities too, and what you're trying to deliver. Also one as a small business tactic that you can use, a lot of many of the media outlets have these associated awards. Some of these awards will come with an actual article, or some just come with some press time to get out to that audience too, that you can leverage, multiple ways on your website, on your social moving forward. So definitely kind of take advantage of those, especially for the smaller businesses. It's a good tactic to play into your strategy. Micro targeting, really study those beats, understand the journalists, put together your own campaign. A lot of mid-tiers, it's tough, especially on the services side. That's where I play into to be, kind of stand out. We really don't do anything great or different. I shouldn't say great, but very different. So kind of piece together your own media plan rather than relying on them. Say, hey, we're going to send it out here and it's going to touch all these people. It's kind of, target it, micro target what you're looking for. Don't pitch to pitch. Usually, as long as you have a good relationship, but sometimes, your senior leaders say, hey, I want to get this in there. It's like, I'm not going to waste this person's time to read it. It's just, so to be respectful of the time of your journalist or whoever you're pitching to. Try and push back if you can. If you can't, you do what you do, but try not to waste their time. Make sure you're pitching the right stuff. As I said before, build relationship, take advantage of the paid relations, see additional things like the NVTC. I was like kind of scrolling through and I was like, hey, you guys got a newsletter, or actually the PSC, they have a newsletter that comes out quarterly, and they won't submit they'll only take awards, corporate awards, like industry awards. They won't take like contract wins or anything like that, but you betcha every time before that newsletter goes out, I'm sending her a list of kind of links to share, to articles, press releases to get out there, just to get, obviously get more eyes on your brand and what you offer. And then, like I said, take advantage of every partnership. especially with FCA, NDIA. I know I'm on WID. So when we have a corporate sponsor has some idea that they think would be great or whatnot, you know, we usually entertain it in a way. So just consider that as well. From even if you're a corporate, check out with your local chapters that maybe some of you involved with, your clients involved with, however that is.
Emilie, tell them what WID is, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Women in Defense. That's NDIA's arm for supporting women working in the national security sector. It's a little bit lighthearted. It's not like we do like tech talks or highly technical stuff. It's really just about bringing women and mentorship together to helping women working in the defense industry.